Hey everyone, Velma here. I call myself Velma today because I cannot find my glasses. I don't know where they went. I have like two or three. No idea where they went. I lose everything. Okay, so let's chit chat. Let's talk. Communication is important. It's important to talk about a lot of different things in life. So let's see where to begin today. Just join me. Join me on my channel. Let's have, I don't drink coffee, so you have your coffee, sit back, have some coffee, and I'll have my, well, I had some juice already, so I'll have some water later. But right now I'm good. So last night I was visiting a friend. I brought over actually roller skates to the neighborhood girls for Christmas, and they were thrilled. They were so thrilled. I had gone to 211. They had a whole bunch of toys. All I did was call the line, and she's like, well, this is not public yet. So she's like, it is now, but she's like, it's not public yet, but you can go on over and you can get, help yourself to toys. There's no limitations. And I'm like, awesome, cool. I'm going to get the whole neighborhood tons of gifts. So I went over and, you know, of course, communication had changed. And they were like, oh, she shouldn't have said that. There is a limit, da 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 da. So I had this box with like basketballs and skateboards and everything, and bikes, new bikes, everything for the kids upstairs. But she's like, yeah, you only can have two. And I'm like, oh, dang. So I grabbed the roller skates because the dad was like, yeah, they would love some roller skates. And I didn't want to break my word to them, so I grabbed the roller skates. And I went over, and they absolutely were thrilled. And that makes me happy. It makes me happy to see somebody happy, like that, to be so appreciative. So when I was over there, I ran into one of my friends, and she's like, want to come in and visit? And I'm like, yeah, let me come on over. So we talked for a couple hours, and I want to share something because she's older than me and she has been through a lot more than me. So she was going through this divorce. Woo! I think I'm getting a hot flash. Yep. So she's going through this divorce, right? And she's like, this is what I went through. And she's telling me about it. And, sometimes I guess I'm going to call this give it back. Give it back. And, I don't think Jesus took everything. He did take what he needed to. This is the season that we celebrate peace on earth because Jesus is the Prince of Peace, right? He died on that cross. He came. We don't just celebrate that he came as a baby for us, but we celebrate and prepare our hearts for his coming. He's also coming again. He came once as a baby and he's coming again. He came as a lamb. He died on the cross. He's coming again as a lion, and he is separating the chaff from the wheat, so to say, in this life. So she was telling me how she gave it back during her divorce. She had a situation where her husband had cheated on her with like two women. She had little kids, and I mean, he was hanging out with them, humiliating her. And then he just woke up. She just woke up one day, and they're in bed, and he's like, I want a divorce. And she's like, okay. And he's like, did you hear me? Yeah, you want a divorce. Okay. He's like, you're not going to fight for it? No. And she went back to sleep. So then later when she was in court, she did fight for herself with the lawyer. He was sending like I think she said $700. The lawyer wanted to take that from her when she had two little kids. And she's like, how about we go over and we live with you? My family lives with you, Mr. Lawyer, and you can now pay for my family to be taken care of because $600 goes to the rent. You're leaving me with 100 and something for school supplies, food, etc., etc. So the lawyer went away, and she really laid into him. And then I guess her divorce went on for 3 years. She had confronted She had confronted the two women that he was cheating with. She walked down to the store, and there was a huge, huge line in the store, huge line. And she confronted the woman, and she's like, "You better effing leave your hands off my effing husband," and yeah, 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 yeah. And I'm sick of you bothering with me and my kids, and this and that. And so she really laid into this other woman. We hear on a American Bandstand, right? This song called what is it? It's about wanting the other woman. I can't think of it right now. I just heard it. Anyways, so this is old school dealing with stuff, right? So back in the day, she went over to the store and she laid into her in front of a whole line of people. And she's like, "You better keep your hands off my husband." Then, of course, this other woman calls her husband saying, well, she's crying. "Your wife did this to me." And the husband was confronting her and saying, "Why did you do that?" And he's like, "You better not do that, to the other woman." And she's like, "You better believe I'm going to. You wait until I see her. I'm going to give her a piece of my mind too." So I remember back in the day, my grandmother got in trouble with some woman, and the woman said, I remember the door being held shut. This is when I was little, and I think it was Mac trying to keep the door shut because my grandmother had fooled around with another man, and the woman was coming after her, saying she's going to cut her face because of what she did. So back in those days, I mean, if you messed with another woman's man, look out. You were going to have some severe major problems. And then she had talked about how she had taken a lot of abuse. Her husband was trying to beat on their kids, and instead she took it. She took it so her kids wouldn't take it. And that was the mentality of a lot of women back then. You did take it. I know my mom stepped in quite a bit to keep me covered from, my father's anger or whatever. So she took a lot for her kids. And so then one day she had it with this guy, and she went over to his truck, and I think he was her ex-husband by now, went over to his truck, and he took his foot out to come out of the truck, and she slammed his truck door on his foot. And he was in pain, and she took the door again, and she kept slamming that door on his foot. And he had been going after her kids or something. So when she defended herself, she ended up in jail. So she was telling me how she had to go to jail, and she was laughing about it because, he was the one doing this, but she's the one who got in trouble. And she had gone to jail, and they were in the van that takes you over to the courthouse, and she's sitting there with a few women, and one of them was talking about how I guess she shot the kneecaps off her husband's knees when he was sleeping. So she ended up in prison, and another one ended up taking some kind of, home decoration thing, cutting it up like a knife and going after her husband all over his body, his arms, everything. So back in the day, people got away with a lot more. So anyways, my point is there are women who go through divorce, and they have it a lot harder than you. Not to downplay what you're going through, but to encourage you that there are a lot of women who have been through a lot. And I was just so thankful that when I've been going through this, like, my kids were not really young, and I didn't go through half the stuff that she went through. And so this Leandro here has decided not to talk to me anymore. And it's good news, right? Because all he does is he says he's doing discovery, but what he's been doing is cutting me down left and right, and trying to take an axe, so to say, and cut me down. So the thing is, when you're a Christian, as I am, God says, he sends the Holy Spirit, and he who is in you is stronger than he who is in the world. So somebody can go all around you and do things to you, but it doesn't mean that they are going to be able to really touch you, because you are filled with the Holy Spirit. Not only do we have the Holy Spirit once we get saved, but we walk in the Spirit. So I had called Kevin Patchy. He's like, one more time, I'm warning you. You call me Patchy. You call me anything. We're done with Discovery. So I said, okay, Patchy. So he he hasn't talked to me. And the reason I said, don't get me excited. Don't get me excited that you might not talk to me. So for some reason, this guy thinks, for some reason, that he can accuse me of an attempted affair. He can put me down left and right, and that I am not going to, give it back, so to say. So that's something that my mother taught me. When I was a little kid, I had all these boys picking on me. And my Aunt Kim would say, Melissa, they're picking on you because they like you. And I remember once I came home crying, and my mother's like, give it back to him. Just give it back. And, that's something that I think is really important for girls to learn. When a guy is truly picking on you or truly harassing you, like Kevin Leandro and my husband has been, I think it's really important to stand up for yourself and give it back. Jesus took the cup for us. He died for us, and that was part of the plan. He willingly did it, but he was as bold as they come, when it came to certain things. There were so many religious people back in the day who hated him, who actually were trying to destroy him because he spoke truth. And he wasn't afraid of them. He wasn't afraid of them. He spoke the truth to them boldly. And I think there is a time for that in life to, to be very bold in what you have to say. So don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to stand up for yourself. And just like this woman, not only did she have to stand up to that lawyer, but she also had to stand up to those women who were messing around with, her husband. Not that the full blame went to them, because it went to also that husband. So don't be afraid to, stand up for yourself in life, ladies. Okay, that's what I got for now.